Caleb Williams waited, it seemed like, to the last second to process his papers. Was there anything going on?
No, I think his dad had some thoughts on how he thought this should work.
What do you mean?
I don't know. There was always chatter about, like, can we get ownership of a team and process? It's just a lot of stuff where it's like, yeah, the NFL doesn't work that way.
So they thought there was a leverage play in him.
I don't know.
In going pro.
There was also a part of it. It's like, do I want to go there? You know, you mentioned the Mannings before. Like, obviously that happened. Whatever it was, 30 years ago.
Well, it was with the Chargers, and they got him to New York. But at this point in time, the Bears hold the pick, and their son is so talented. I mean, Caleb is so talented. Like,
he is, but
he's going to be a Bear, man. I think he's going to be a Bear.
Yeah, and we'll, you know, like, I think the challenge would be, if you come back to USC, you just went 7-5, and you were playing behind a really mediocre offensive line. I don't think that offensive line is going to be significantly better, right? So yeah, you're living in LA, you're taken care of on the NIL front, but if you want to go play in the NFL, you already won a Heisman. I mean,
this is it made no sense to stay put. It made just zero sense. He didn't play in his bowl game.
But he wasn't. I don't think he ever was going.
Okay, so then he waited to the last second, and now, I mean,
doesn't that happen all the time though? Guys like usually like wait, play up the drama. I definitely think.
No, I mean, Marvin Harrison Jr. did it last week. I mean, J.J. McCarthy did it Sunday. I think he waited until after they were finished with their celebrations and what have you. I don't recall somebody who was the 1,000%, in my mind, with all due respect to Drake May and whoever's mock drafting him won. I don't recall anybody who was for the surefire first overall best. Like
Caleb
Trevor Lawrence didn't wait, did he? I don't remember.
They also had a lot of drama around his movement after he left Oklahoma. You know, it was like, hey, we're gonna go. We're talking to Chip Kelly at UCLA. Good, by the way, good luck on the NIL front with anything you're trying to get out of UCLA. But also then it was like, hey, there's a coach that we know in Wisconsin who's going to be the offensive coordinator, and there was, you know, chatter about that. Like, it wasn't very like smooth. Okay. It was just there was a kind of a bumpy ride before he ended up reuniting with Lincoln Riley, which seemed like it was going to be the obvious move.
So what are we going to hear? What are the silly red flags we're going to hear in regards to him? So you know how it works. You know how this works. What are we going to hear?
Probably the silliest one I would imagine will be, oh, he paints his fingernails. I mean, it's like...
Or he cried in his mother's arms or something like that. Something silly like that when he was all upset about losing.
Yeah, I'm sure that'll become a thing for a day or so. I mean, he's super talented. Everybody I know who's worked with him thinks he's really bright. Really, really bright. He's physically strong. He's done everything to get himself ready for this. I just think, you know, it's going in the NFL, and half the guys who they take, more than half, you know, when it comes to quarterbacks, don't live up to what they're doing. Some of it's circumstance, and some of it's like the adversity that you've never had before to that degree when it's real than when you're, you know, trying to be the face of a franchise. You know, physically, I don't think they can ding him for anything.
Yeah.
You know, like, I just think you know, I'm sure one day somebody will bring up, oh, here's the shots of him in the crowd with his mom sobbing after a game. It's like, look, the guy is, you know, really, you know, like, invested in his program and everything there.
I don't have a problem with that by any stretch of the imagination. It's just, again, the question is going to be, does he look at the Bears and say, because they blew out their offensive staff.
Right,
and that's the first thing they're going to have to do. They're going to have to fill out that staff.
So do you go bring Cliff Kingsbury in to run the offense?
Yes.
I mean,
but why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you at least consider
it? Would he do it? That's a great idea. I mean, yeah, set it up for him. And the minute because you're going to have to hire a staff fast. There's a bunch of people. There's a bunch of teams that need OCs right now in the NFL. So you're going to have to go and fill that thing out fast, and that is going to inform us, I think, on what their decision is going to be. Daniel Jeremiah thinks it's absolutely Caleb Williams, and I trust him. My two eyes say it's absolutely Caleb Williams. The eye in the sky tells me it's Caleb Williams.
Maybe you get a second-round pick.
For Justin?
I
think that's high. I mean, they might. I think they'd be lucky to get that. Depends on what Belichick wants to do in Atlanta.
By the way, you know the biggest, you mentioned CJ Stroud a minute ago. The biggest CJ Stroud sleuth or whatever, the one who was onto it way before, is DJ's podcast buddy, Bucky.
Well,
Bucky coached him, when he was in high school and saw him just kind of thrive. So credit to Bucky, because I think he would have wanted to been jumping on the Granger desk more than anybody.
Look at him.
I've heard this thing
Your
all year.
podcast is brought to you by Trader Joe's.
I've heard it all year about Granger.
You know what? I'm selling soap too, brother. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.